The Rings of Power Season 2 finale, now out, so let's talk about it. Okay, so the season finale of Season 2 of The Rings of Power is now available on Amazon Prime for you guys to go and check out. All 8 episodes are now there, so you can go and binge watch it if you hadn't watched it already, so you can go do that. But all I wanted from Season 2 was to be better than Season 1. You know, just to see the progression of it get better and better and better. And I feel like Season 2 is better than Season 1. And I think most of us would agree that it is better than that one. Now, coming into the finale, I thought last week's episode was decent. I thought the one before that was good. So, now I'm thinking, alright, we're in the finale process here. The amount of times I've seen shows that have just failed the finale, that have not landed or left on a high where you're like, that kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth. This season did not do that. I thought this season ended on a very high, a very good high. And look, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing a season 3. I would like to see a season 3 to see where this story is going to go. But if it got cancelled, I'm not going to be overly disappointed and be like, oh man, quick, everyone, sign petitions to bring it back. We need the season 3. I'm not at that stage. I am happy if we get it, and I won't be sad if we don't get it. Because I just feel like there's ups and downs throughout the whole entire show, from season 1 to season 2, that kind of hasn't nailed me to the point where I'm like, I need this season 3. But this finale, I thought they did what they needed to do very well. It's action-packed. There is a lot of fighting going on, and it's done in a good way. You know, it's filmed in a way where you can feel the presence and feel the stakes of this fight and how this needs to happen in this way in order for these characters to get to where they want to get. So, I thought that whole sequence was great. I really, really enjoyed that. And the majority of this episode is about Sauron and him, you know, bringing his plan to fruition. I will say, though, Addar's death did feel underwhelming. I must say, it did feel underwhelming. I was hoping that we were going to see Sauron and Addar come face to face again. And we were going to get like a little conversation or something like that, you know, about how Sauron feels towards him, how Addar feels towards him, and, you know, get a conclusion to that moment. But we didn't. Addar just gets kind of stabbed by the orcs. And the orcs turning on Addar, I will say this. It kind of just happened out of nowhere. There was not really anything where I was like, well, these orcs loved Addar. They like looked up to Addar. They followed him everywhere. And now all of a sudden they just turn on him. I would have liked to see how Sauron did that. You know, how did he corrupt them? How did he turn them against Addar? But there was none of that. So that to me took a little bit of a hit for the season finale, is those moments there. The stuff with Sauron and Galadriel, I really enjoyed. The fight could have probably been better. I will say that it could have been better. It was very much, it did feel like, I get why they did it. Like we got to see how good Sauron really is with the sword and that, and how much leagues above he is of everyone else. But then again, Galadriel she didn't look that impressive. I was kind of sitting there like, this is supposed to be like one of the great warriors. This is the one that's supposed to be really good with a sword. And I just didn't get that. So that was a bit of another one that knocked it down a bit for me. But I like the narrative of the fight. To me, that was the strong point. The narrative behind Galadriel facing Sauron, I thought worked really well in that fight. And you could feel between both of them and how they felt towards each other, and just how important that fight was of, can one overpower the other? Can one somehow win this character over to their side? Can they do that? What is going to happen? So to me, that really worked as well. Then you had the stuff with the dwarves, and there is something in this episode that got revealed that I think Lord of the Rings fans will like. Some of them probably not, because they don't like the series, but it is what it is. But there's a character in here that we see as well, and this is where we see Doran's dad, the king, go face to face with it. They, you know, come to a resolution with that whole character arc between them two and what they've been going back and forth. And I thought that worked really, really well. And then obviously the dwarfs come and save the elves. And now we have little breadcrumbs of the dwarves and their little civil war about the power for the throne. And we know Durin's brother is coming. He's racking up some supporters to come and try and claim that, because he doesn't believe Durin is the right successor and was trained basically to be the successor. So he's going to come and try and claim. And, you know, we've seen this in Game of Thrones, in House of Dragon, in all sorts of shows regarding this stuff, Vikings and that. When there's a throne and it's empty, everyone has a claim now, apparently. And this is where the wars begin. So you have that stuff. Then you have the Sea Kingdom. You have that stuff going on, and we're seeing a civil war there happening. We're seeing how that terrific city is crumbling before its eyes because of the king, and how he wants to rule so badly that he is willing to tear everything down. The foundations that built the city, that built the people, he's willing to tear that all down just so he can sit on the throne. So we had that stuff going on. We have the daughter finally realizing, oh, maybe she was in the wrong. Obviously, the queen stays because that's been her narrative this whole entire season. So we have that, and then they obviously send a ship over to Middle-earth as well. And this is where we see the captain's son, and he's ready to go back to the Sea Kingdom to reunite and stuff like that. And this is where we see he finds out what's happened over there, how his dad's a traitor, and the other guy's dad's now the king. And he's now going to head back, but they're going to use this as a base to build up an army so that they can get ready to take over and do whatever they need to do. So you had that as well. And then you have the big thing. We find out who the stranger is. Who is this stranger? Who is this wizard? And I mean, they flat out say who it is. It's Gandalf. It's Gandalf. So, I mean, we all presumed that this was going to be Gandalf at the start of season 1. We're like, oh, is this going to be Gandalf? Here we go. This is going to be like that stuff. And then when they're walking in, they're like, great elf. And you're like, great elf, Gandalf. It's Gandalf. And then when he's like, oh, they're going to call me Gandalf. It's like, okay, we get it. You're Gandalf. That storyline, I didn't particularly like this whole entire season. It kind of felt like a nothing storyline. It just felt like we need to put Gandalf in here. We need to show that Gandalf's a big player here. We need to show an origin for him. So let's just shoehorn it in. That's what this whole storyline felt like in season 2. Was we just need to do that. Because the way that it just ends, it's kind of like, okay, Nori and that go this way. They found... So they're basically in the same situation they were in the first time when they met him. They were on the road moving around. And now they're doing it just with a different people. Okay? That's it. So they're on doing that, and now we just know this guy found the wizard and he's in the desert. We know that it's a dark wizard. I was like, if you could take that storyline out, and I don't think it changes anything. I don't think it adds anything, or it just does not add anything to this series. It really does not, in my opinion. So, but overall, I like the ending of this season. I thought it worked. It ended on a high. I really thought that they were going to drop the ball, and I was going to be like, I think season 2 is better than season 1, and I think it is an upgrade. I feel like it is getting better and better and better. They haven't quite nailed the dialogue yet and the setting like they do in, for instance, Penguin, for Last of Us, House of Dragon, Game of Thrones. I don't think they've quite landed that moment where you're sitting there watching two characters talk, and it's just unbelievably great. I haven't mastered that yet. They're still trying to figure that out, but it's slowly getting there. And like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing a season 3. I'm down for it. But also, if it gets cancelled, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode and the season as a whole. I know a lot of you don't like it. I know there's some of you that do like it. Let's be civil in the comment section, okay? Let me know your thoughts. Smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe, and peace out.